Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed viewers all over the world. We're back for a second episode in a row talking about homosexuality in Africa. And today we are going to look at a number of issues, including homophobia and how it has affected thousands of people in Africa, leading to a number of deaths, murder, imprisonment, but also forcing many who have been lucky to escape to go as asylum seekers in Europe, America, and elsewhere in Africa. So today we are going to talk about this important subject. Endeavored to determine what homosexuality all means. What do people understand when we talk about homosexuals? What are the perceptions about this? And what should be the best way to view homosexuals? We equally said that homosexuality is part of that sex orientation. Sex orientation is the way we do love, if I can use the basic way to explain it, is the way we do love. Some people love fellow men. We are going to talk about homosexuality in Africa. We shall talk about homophobia. We shall talk about the social, cultural, political aspect of homosexuality in Africa, but also analyze the myth, the misconceptions surrounding homosexuality. In the first video, in the first episode last week, we did define homosexuality, and we did say that it's part of sex or sexual orientation. And we did say that a sex orientation is a direction of a person's sexual and emotional desire towards members of the same sex or opposite sex, or even both. So a sex orientation is something which is bigger, and it involves homosexuality too. I am a heterosexual, but my brother is gay, and all of us are perfectly normal. So I can be with a brother who is gay, and yet I am a heterosexual. So these sexual relations are quite normal, as we saw in our first episode. Tonight, we shall talk about homophobia. Homophobia is that unreasonable and irrational. When you talk about irrational, you don't think things through. You fear things you cannot justify. Irrational fear. You simply fear. When someone talks about homosexuals, even without understanding what it means, you freak out because you are not informed, because you are biased, because you don't want to open your mind to learn that actually it's an orientation where someone loves differently. That whereas me, I like women, another person like men, yet another person may like both a man and a woman. So it's an orientation, and we're talking about these things here. so that we can help our people understand. We also say that homosexuality is part of nature, is part of the human species. In one of my videos, I've elaborated the history, the scientific history of humans. All of us have a single ancestor. All of us as humans originating from Africa, if you follow that theory, and all of us sharing similar traits with our cousins, the chimpanzees, the apes, the orangutans, and others. And I did say that homosexuality, in fact, is also seen in animals, where some animals have sex, same sex, with other animals. So it's erroneous for anyone to say, oh, it's only these stupid humans who actually have sex with similar sex. No, if you research, make the computer your friend, make God Google your friend, educate yourself, do research. If you research, you'll be surprised to know that actually some animals can even be seen having homosexual relationships, which means that the traits of homosexuality is actually natural and scientific. Today, we shall talk about homophobia, and we shall talk about homophobia engineered by a number of factors. Some of these factors include cultural relativism, cultural influence. Also, we shall talk about religious influence. We shall see how your so-called Bible and Quran, the so-called holy books, actually have fueled homophobia. We shall also see how politics, especially in Africa, especially in countries having dictators, in countries like Uganda, where dictator Museveni always finds an excuse to beat opposition, to damage the reputation of others. And dictator Museveni has always used homosexuality as a whip, as a scapegoat, as a tool to fight opposition. So we are going to talk about all these things today, and my sister Linda is going to expound on many of these issues when she comes live. But in the meantime, let me add that homosexuality has been proven to be normal. And in fact, as I did say, that until 1973, homosexuality was regarded as a disease. And surprisingly, if you wish, countries in Europe and in the rest of the world had a consensus that to be gay was to be sick, that it was a disease. And the American Psychiatrist Association, APA, had actually categorized homosexuality as a disorder. Be it in Scotland, be it in England, and so many other countries, homosexuals were not free. So it's erroneous to say that Europeans brought homosexuality to Africa. In fact, we said that before the coming of Europeans in Africa, because homosexuality is nature, already Africans had homosexuals. We went ahead to show you photos or pictures or paintings from the tombs in Egypt, the pyramids in Egypt, which in fact depicted same-sex affairs. We talked about the rocks in South Africa, We talked about the history in West Africa and East Africa, where we see homosexuals part of the community. We also talked about cultures in Africa, especially West Africa, where women were allowed to marry women. We talked about South Africa, where fighters among the Zulu were allowed to have what they called boy wives. And these fighters were homosexuals, because why should a person who is not interested in homosex or same-sex relationship go with a woman, a boy as a wife? Because me, I'm not homosexual. There's no way I can say, give me a boy for a wife. If anything, I would ask for a woman. But we see in the history of Zulu land, soldiers, generals would be allowed to have boy wives. We also see in the history of the Tutsi in Rwanda, where when you visited a king or a chief, they would ask you if they could give you a boy, a handsome boy to entertain you, or you would go with a woman. So all these are indicators to show you that homosexuality was part of Africa. In my book, which I wrote on homosexuality in 2012, I did talk about the Kabaka of Buganda, a king called Mwanga. And Mwanga was known to be homosexual. In fact, history goes to say that Kabaka Mwanga only murdered, burnt the so-called Uganda Martyrs in 1885, 86, 87, the 1880s, only because these pages or the boys working in the palace or Olubiri had refused his sexual advances upon converting to Christianity. So we are seeing that homosexuality, even before the coming of the white man, was part of Africa. So it's a fallacy. It's erroneous for anyone to say that white people, our brothers and sisters from Europe, brought homosexuality to Africa. In fact, it's an insult to Europeans, to Americans, and to all people that came to Africa. Do not insult them. They never brought homosexuality to Africa. In fact, they found us homosexuals, or they found homosexuals part of us, because to be homosexual is normal. It's part of nature. I will also talk about homophobia, but I'll start by talking about the mythology, things which people parrot like parrots, but are not actually true. When you follow what is happening in Africa, and if you come to a homophobic country like Uganda, where dictator Museveni has actually inspired homophobia, you will hear people tell you that those people are homosexuals, that family has homosexuals, therefore they are unclean, they are sinners, they should be excluded, because they're immoral. So people have said among the myth that, number one, homosexuals are pedophiles, meaning homosexuals sleep with minors, that homosexuals sleep with minors and therefore are immoral. They use that as a way of tarnishing the image of homosexuals. They have always said that homosexuals go on defiling, if I can use that word, minors. They force them into sex, and this is wrong. Whereas it's true, I have handled some cases as a lawyer, as an activist, as a human rights defender, where some homosexuals have sexually assaulted boys. And whereas it is true that I went to Catholic schools where some priests allegedly, it was said that they had sex with minors I was studying with, it does not mean that all homosexuals are pedophiles, that all homosexuals actually go have sex or force themselves on boys. In fact, on the contrary, statistics show that us heterosexuals force ourselves more on young girls than homosexuals can do to young boys. Statistics have shown that, in fact, cases reported of defilement, of pedophilia, 90% of those cases are crimes done by heterosexuals like me. Big men, old men like me, forcing themselves on young girls who are minors, 5 years, 3 years. I've seen stupid men in Uganda in news, watching news, 3-year-old getting defiled by heterosexual who is 40 years. And no homosexual does that. It is the heterosexuals normally forcing themselves on children. So that fallacy is cancelled. The second fallacy, the second myth, is that homosexuals generally are sex perverts, that they love sex so much. They keep on looking for sex here and there. No, that's a lie. In my book that exposes homophobia, I've written in 2012 that, on the contrary, they are what we call virgin, or call it celibate homosexuals. They are people who are homosexuals, and I said homosexuality means they are people who love to have sex with fellow men if they are men, or with fellow women if they are women, or both genders if they are bisexuals. But research has shown that some of the homosexuals actually do not want to have sex. They simply want to have a company of a man and be happy, but no touching, no sex, no nothing. They are women. I've also known in Uganda who people think are gay or lesbians, but actually don't sleep with these women. They simply want a company of a woman. If any man made advances, she will say, no, I don't want. These are called virgin homosexuals or celibate homosexuals. So it's wrong for anyone to say that homosexuals want sex, are sex perverts, are sex terrorists. Whatever you say, it's wrong to assume that all of them actually want sex. No, some of them simply want company. They want relationships. They want to be happy with people who make them happy, but not to have anything to do with sex. I have also said the third myth I talk about in my book is that homosexuality is transitional. People keep on saying that, no, look, it's a phase. It only comes during your youthfulness. In fact, you will overgrow it. Don't worry. If your boy is homosexual, it's just a simple phase. It's transitional. When he reaches 20 years, he will overcome it. That's a fallacy. That's a myth. My own relatives grew up homosexuals, and they have never changed. And I grew up with 2 of them. I observed them. Whereas I was interested in women, they were interested in boys. And that is perfectly normal. And they have never changed. And I should warn parents to stop forcing their sons into marriages with women. If you see that your son is not interested in women, please leave them alone. If you see that your daughter is not interested in a man, please leave your daughter alone. I have seen this from my own relatives, within my own family, where my people are being forced into a sex relationship they don't want. And as a result, things don't come out well. I have brothers, I have cousins who are gay, but have been forced into relationships which they don't want. And the end results are always bitter. So it's wrong to assume that it's a phase. No, people don't outgrow homosexuality. Like I cannot outgrow heterosexuality. I love women. There's no way I can outgrow that. That is part of me. That's how I am wired. And I'm a twin. Kato is the name of a young twin boy. But my twin brother is not necessarily heterosexual. So each of us are wired differently, and none of us was taught to be with a sex orientation we have. No European taught me how to love women, and no European taught my brother how to love men. So homosexuality is nature speaking with our bodies and our brains and our minds. The other fallacy which is promoted is that homosexuality can be prevented by good upbringing. That when your child, when your son is homosexual, simply pray for them, simply take them to a clinic, to a social worker, take them to a church. The pastor can pray for them, lay the hand on their heads so that the demons get out of them. You know, that's wrong also. It's a fallacy because it assumes that basically you learn how to be homosexual, and that is not right. You don't learn it. It's part of nature. There is no way you can learn how to love a woman. There is no way you can learn how to love a man. I mean, it's something which is natural, which is part of you. So it's a fallacy to say people are being taught how to be gay. Another myth, that you go to school and someone teaches you how to have sex with a man, and then after teaching you, you gain the interest. I should make my own confession clear again, that I have brothers who are gay and I'm not gay, but also that I have worked with the topmost gay organizations in Uganda, including Freedom and Rome, headed by Kasha Nabagesera, and others, including Sexual Minorities Uganda, including Spectrum, and others NGOs headed by Frank Mugisha and others. And I've been in their company since 2007. None of them has ever approached me for sexual advance because they know I'm not gay. None of them has ever forced me into sex, but I've slept in the same environment with them. I've trained them. We have shared a lot with them. And even because despite my exposure with Farouk, Sexual Minorities Uganda, Spectrum, I have never, even on a single day, gotten interest in having sex with a man because it's not me. I'm not wired that way. Whereas my brother is interested in men, I'm not interested in sex with men. So there is no way, and I've been paid sometimes to do the work I do for the gay community. So there is no way you can tell me that it's about money to become gay. No, there's no way you can do something you don't like, something which is not wired in your brain. I am wired to love women. I'm attracted to women. They look beautiful for me. I love to see women. But my brother, my cousins, my friends, some of them don't like women. In fact, they are attracted to fellow men. But you may find that our father, our mother is the same. So it's wrong to assume things. And these are the myths which we intend to expose. I've also heard people say that homosexuals smell badly, that homosexuals have a bad odor, a bad smell, that when you are walking and you meet a homosexual, you automatically know because of the way they smell. And I think that is a very stupid way of describing homosexual. I should tell you that my brothers who are gay are one of the most clean people. And I've always said jokingly that for me, I'm very disorganized. I'm not that very much clean. Maybe I don't even smell well. But my brothers who are gay, my friends who are gay, are the most clean people. Always tidy, always clean. So it's wrong to say homosexuals smell. I have had that fallacy and I put it in the book. You can simply know by their smell because they use chemicals, Those are fallacies used to create fear. I've told you my own exposure. In fact, when I went to Scotland to learn how to become a celebrant, many or some of my trainers, I will not mention names because I haven't got their permission, but some of my trainers were homosexuals. And I slept in their houses. None of them even scolded me because they respect themselves. They have their partners. They are clean men, gentlemen. They simply love differently. The way you love women, for them they love men. So until we accept that we are wired differently, that we don't love exactly the same way, Africa will be free. We shall live a decent life. We shall stop allowing dictators like Museveni of Uganda to use us, using homosexuality as a pretext to fight opposition in Uganda. There is another myth, they say. They have said that homosexuality is a lifestyle. And being a lifestyle, they are saying, you can choose to be homosexual. You can choose to be homosexual. Therefore, someone is made homosexual or someone simply chooses. Can you imagine? That is stupidity 311, because no one chose for me to be heterosexual. Therefore, there is no way I can choose to be homosexual. Homosexual science has shown unnaturally wired, just like me, I'm naturally wired to love women. For them, they are naturally wired to love fellow men or fellow women. In fact, when you go into science, you'll know how the causes of homosexuality. Some people said the debate is big. They have debated and say homosexuals are born. Others are saying homosexuals are made. What am I saying? I use science and say researchers have shown that people are born wired that way. Sometimes, or most cases, can be genetic, influenced by genetics. That among my line, because I have brothers who are gay, there may be people who are genetically wired like that. Maybe my forefathers, maybe my ancestors were like that. So the gene of homosexuality moves in my blood. I may be spared to be heterosexual, but my son, my daughter may be a lesbian or homosexual. My brother is homosexual. So it may be the genetic influence that comes within, and no one chooses their genes, because this is an involuntary action. You simply grow up seeing yourself differently. You love differently. You are not attracted to people of the same sex. It's wired in you. There's no way you can change it. You may want to help yourself. You may hate yourself. I've interviewed over 100 homosexuals in Uganda. Some of them actually hate themselves. Others even commit suicide. Because for them, they think they are immoral, they are evil, they are going to go to hell. And me, I am a humanist. But most importantly, I am an atheist. I don't do gods. They are all fake. I don't believe in heaven and hell. I don't believe in your God. I believe in doing good. I believe in humility. I believe in love. I believe in hard work. I trust science if it has been proven to be accurate. I believe in helping others out of trouble, being sympathetic to the vulnerable. That's what I believe in. I believe in Ubuntu, that principle of do to others what you want to be done to you. These are principles I believe in as a humanist, but also as an atheist. I don't believe in God. So if someone uses the pretext of the Bible, I will question the Bible. I will question the Quran and say, to hell with your Stone Age books, which are no longer valid in this century. This century is a century for using our brains to think, for asking questions, not for dogma. Where you went to Catholic schools where I was and you don't ask questions. I have said before that I was expelled from the Catholic school I went to for reasons, among others, because I refused to become an altar boy. I refused to become an altar boy because I was already atheist at 12. I refused to go for the trainings to become qualified to take hostia, as they call it, Eucharist, whatever it is. So I thought that religion was not for me. And I was a head prefect in a very big Catholic school called the Blessed Sacrament Chimanya in Masaka. But I rejected everything to do with Catholicism, and I felt I was not fit to be a Catholic, and I was a student. So we can reject the notion advanced by religion that homosexuals are evil, are sinners, therefore we must condemn them. No. People are using their Bible wrongly. In fact, the Bible should be a book for love. If at all, it can be a book to go by. The Quran is the most backward book you can read. A book full of lies and superstitions and violence. I don't recommend the Quran to be read by a mature person. It must be read as a book of fiction, and that one goes with the Bible. We can read them as books of fiction. No serious person should take a Bible and the Quran seriously. That's why we are saying, let us not hate our own brother, my own brother. Why do you hate them? Because they love differently. And you are saying, you see, the Quran says, this Quran is a fake book. You cannot tell me a book was inspired from heaven by who? That an angel inspired and it was written on the stones and all that. That is mythism, mythology, fake fallacies. You can't prove it. So we cannot use religion to determine whether homosexuality is valid or not. We shall be shooting ourselves in the foot because the religion itself is invalid, especially the religions that force us to hate our own people, to kill our own people. They are saying homosexuality is a disease. I've said that it's not a disease. World Health Organization proved it in 1994 and removed homosexuality from the list of diseases, disorders. It's not a disorder. And they have said that, as a fallacy, that you can actually tell a homosexual if you're walking on the street, that if you walk on the street, you will see someone behaving like a woman or someone behaving like a man, that some people dress like women if they are men. So those are homosexuals automatically. That when you are walking and find a woman having shorts or trousers and has short hair, and maybe she's black, has not bleached her face, that woman must be a homosexual, because homosexuals don't mind about bleaching. You know, I've heard those stupid lies about homosexuals in Uganda, where I've been for many years. And that's a lie, because homosexuals are people like me and you. They can bleach, they can put on whatever they want, In fact, some of them don't even show anything. So if you are going to go with characteristics of a person and say this one is more masculine, this one is more feminine, because I went to school with the boys who were more feminine. There's a boy I was with in school, had actually a female voice, and his feature, his structure was more ladylike. But I cannot stand here and say because Tom had this feature, therefore he was or he is homosexual. No. Maybe the genes are like that. Maybe someone took from their mother or from their father, and they are beautiful in that way. There is no guarantee that if someone is masculine and is a woman, therefore that person is homosexual. That's wrong. I've seen very beautiful lady homosexuals in Uganda I've worked with. I've met them all over the world, very beautiful women. Nothing to do with feminism, masculinity. No, because these are individuals. I've met men who are masculine, who are homosexuals, because this is part of nature. Also, science has shown that only 15% of women who are masculine can be gay. Only 15% of them. If you met 100 women who are masculine, look like men, strong, aggressive, maybe dress like men, science is showing that only 15% of the 100 you meet may be, not even sure, may be homosexuals. Only 15% out of the 100. So which means that 85% of them dressed like men, walking like men, speaking like men, which is actually another fallacy, are not necessarily homosexuals. And science has shown that only 5% of men who behave like women, or speak like women, or walk like women, may be homosexuals. Only 5, which means 95 who do like that, actually are not homosexuals. They are heterosexuals. So that's even wrong. So it's also wrong to say that gay people simply want sex. I've already said that actually some gay people don't want sex at all. They are interested in being celibate. But please don't find them and approach them. Leave them, give them their space. Someone simply wants to be in a company of men, but doesn't mean that you want to have sex with men. Me, I grew up with some girls who wanted a company of men. A girl who doesn't want to stay with girls at all. She feels she wants to be in the company of men. It doesn't mean she wants sex, no. She simply wants to be your friend, not to have sex with you. These are different things. But she simply loves the company of boys. Others simply want to be with girls. A boy, you'll find one boy always with girls. It doesn't mean that this person is homosexual. I've told you about the students I've taught because I taught for over 15 years. I never knew that actually these students were homosexuals until later on. I can mention names here, if they could permit me. Some of them on Facebook, and these were my friends, my students then. And I was a very tough teacher. I only come to class to do what have brought me and I leave. I don't go on finding out about people's businesses. That's not my concern. But after leaving the school environment, 10 years down the road, now I discover that, oh, so-and-so was homosexual because now they're on Facebook and talking about homosexuality. And I'm saying, fine, that's all right. Just like I have my rights. And the other myth people have been talking about, which is actually very dangerous, people are saying that homosexuals are made by Western influence. And as I said, I find that very insulting to our friends in Europe and America. In other words, to our white friends. For us as black people, to be so stupid, to think that being homosexual is brought by white people in our countries, is to show that we are brazenly ignorant. We are twats. Africans, I think we are so stupid. if we believe that white people taught us how to love. I always laugh at such people. And if we think that white people have taught us their culture, I always laugh at these people. Because there's nothing like a culture in homosexuality. It's not a culture. I just know if you say that before me, who's well read, I'm well read, I should attest to that. And you say that homosexuality is a culture, I will simply know you're ignorant and I'll move on. I'll not even give you an answer. Because there's nothing like a culture. I just know you don't understand culture. There's nothing like influence, that someone is going to influence you to become homosexual. No one can influence me to love a fellow man in bed. No one can do that to me. Because I'm not my brother. Because I am heterosexual. I'm interested in women. When I say woman and I like her, I like her. I like her. But when I say man, I simply want business. There's nothing attractive to a man in me. But there's everything attractive to a woman when I see them. But I'm the opposite of my brother. My twin brother loves men. And we are twins. I normally give that example. We are twins. My twin brother loves men. It doesn't mean you hate my twin brother. No. But what if my twin brother also is a bisexual? How do we define that? When also has interest in women sometimes, but largely loves men. So homosexuals are normal, perfectly normal human beings. Only that the difference is that we like different. So stop insulting our white friends, our white relatives. I don't even see you insulting Chinese or Japanese or Indians. You always attack Europeans, calling them people who have brought their culture in Uganda. No, we can blame them for everything else, but not homosexuality. We can blame them for bringing their religions, which were not actually theirs, because they also forced into these religions. If you look at the history of religion, we can blame them for promoting slavery, but also slavery was also being done by Africans themselves before the coming of the white man. Our kings were one of the worst kings we had in some kingdoms. Our kings were even brutal. Our kings kept slaves on their farms. Yes, Europeans promoted slavery, but slavery was in Africa already. We can blame them for exploiting our minerals, for stealing much from us in the so-called fake trade, as we shall see in our next discussions. We can blame them, and not all of them, but some of them who are engaging in this hemorrhage of stealing from Africa. We can blame some people from Europe for engaging in trade, illicit trade with our dictators, the oligarchy, capitalism and all that. But we cannot blame white people for teaching us homosexuality, because that's a lie. That would be an insult. They have never taught us to be homosexuals. They have never. They have never taught us to be homosexuals. That would be wrong. So my sister Linda, I'm trying to add you. In fact, it's adding you up to now, but it's failing, but it's adding you. I'll keep on doing that. And as I wind up, I must say that let us intellectually grow. Ladies and gentlemen, we are using this platform to share with you pertinent issues. It's why I put myself in the close line, in the line of fire. And I say the things I said, well knowing that I'm hated back home, well knowing that I'm talking about a president and his fake ministers and all that, well knowing that people are watching me from where I'm born, well knowing that I'm exposing many loved ones to danger, but we do come out to speak these things out of concern and out of love, because we have seen people getting killed in our countries. We have seen people getting victimized. Our friend David Kato one of the gay people I first knew, one of the gay activists I first worked with, David Kato in Uganda, was killed in his own home because he was always on TV and radios talking about homosexuality. He was an advocate for homosexuality rights. David Kato, my namesake, was killed. And when he was killed, what did the police in Uganda say? Police in Uganda hid everything. They simply said there were robbers who went to his home and killed him, but Kato was killed innocently. Kato was never a criminal. Kato was simply a homosexual who came out. Personally, I was attacked in 2014. Several times when I was on radio stations, several times when I was on TV, people could insult you. There's a time I went to a radio station, Top Radio, and I found my car tires cut into threads just because I was talking on a radio. There was a time they came to my house on the 30th day of October 2014. In that night, they came to my house, tried to enter my house. The door was a bit strong, and they burnt my car. When you go back to my Facebook, Kato Mukasa, look for 30th October 2014, you'll see the wreckage of my burnt Noah. The car was Noah, very good car. But they burned. It was burned. It was burnt out of hate. Why? They said I was homosexual, for supporting homosexual rights, for writing a book promoting, as they said, homosexuality. They said that I was a sinner, I was immoral. They hated me in my own country for writing about homosexuality, and they wanted to kill me. And I continued saying, look, I'm not a homosexual, because I am not. If my relatives are homosexuals, it's not me. But I'll continue defending each and every homosexual in the world with my last drop of the blood I have left in me. Because homosexuality should not be criminalized. Whereas some of us have paid the price of being tagged, all these kind of things, we still believe that we are better off speaking the truth. And I'm happy when I have Linda, my sister, there in this struggle. Linda there is working on over 40 cases of Ugandans in Kakuma, a very filthy death camp in Kenya. Kakuma is worse than every camp you know on the face of the world. I think it's part of the Nazi system of the Nazi Germany, where people are put in camps, concentration camps, to be killed. Many Ugandans are running away from Uganda because of dictator Museveni, a man who has ruled our country for 36 very bad years. And his government is witch hunting homosexuals and political activists. Many of them have ended up in exile. Some of them who are not lucky have ended up in Kakuma concentration camp. So it's upon that I thank my sister there, Linda Tilly. I thank her very much for working so hard. Together with the sponsors she works with, I've not mentioned because I haven't got permission to mention them. People who are helping homosexuals, refugees in Kakuma. And I want to thank you so much, those who are watching us, and call upon you to continue supporting the asylum seekers, homosexuals in Kakuma, in South Africa, in Namibia, and in all countries where they are not wanted. So homosexuality is something which would otherwise be normal in a sane country. Right now in Scotland, where I am, it has been a fight. They never got their freedom on a silver platter. In fact, I was watching a documentary a week ago where in the 1970s, homosexuals in Glasgow and Edinburgh Edinburgh had to stage demonstrations, had to engage their politicians, had to do all sorts of activism to announce their presence and say, we are here, we need our rights. And it was until after a long fight that homosexuals in Scotland were recognized and allowed even to marry legally, even through humanistic marriages. This is not in England. This is in Scotland, where homosexuals can even legally marry in a humanistic marriage. In other secular, safe countries, they can be allowed to have partnerships. But this is not the case in Africa. Africa, why are we so backward? Why do we keep on chasing our best brains from our own continent? Abraham, I'm seeing you and I'm thanking you. Why are you chasing the best brains? These Abraham, these young men, you have chased them from our country. How are we going to develop our continent when the best brains are running away to seek refuge in other countries? And because we cannot have a better world for them, why do we all keep on running away from our countries? The best brains live in Africa. Because we Africans are becoming too stupid, we cannot tolerate, we cannot accommodate each other. The best scientists are running away, the best leaders are running away, the best authors are running away. Why? Because we live under dictatorships, because we are slaves of gods that don't even exist. We have foreign names of gods we don't even know. I was named Paul. If you look at my passport, it has Kato Paul Mukasa. I have kept it because all my academic transcripts have Paul. But I call Paul a slave name. It's not a name I know. It's not a name I love. But if someone in Europe loves that name, it's fine because it may be a family name. Paul can be a family name, but for me in Africa, where it was forced on me, it's a slave name. Therefore, why should Africans kill each other over religions, over mythology, over fallacy, where we continue saying a gay person is evil? Why? Because a fake book called the Bible or Quran has said so. Africans, it's the right time to grow up. It's the right time to reason things out intellectually. And as I've said, science has demonstrated this. My brother Abraham there is suffering. He had a good future in his country, but we have made him leave his country. He's now in South Africa, suffering. All of us want to be back home. There is no better country than your motherland. My sister Linda there loves Africa more than United Kingdom. She's a white African. She has a passport. She can go back. She can go back to UK and stay. Linda, I'm adding it. You are being added on the machine. But Linda loves Africa because Linda was born in Africa. And Africa is born into her. She's purely African, you know? She's purely African. So we love our continent. None of us would like to be in environments where we don't feel appreciated. None of us would like to be in environments where we don't feel free. But we leave our countries because we are not loved. So we go to countries where we think we can be loved. So it's the reason why we encourage you to stop hating, to stop homophobia, to be reasonable, to avoid people running away from their countries. And the reason why I'm calling upon the governments in Europe, please help us fight homophobia in Africa. Please help us sponsor NGOs that can help to fight homophobia. It's one of the ways we are going to stop having refugees coming to our countries. If we have a continent where there is love, there is good governance, there is freedom, there is democracy, many of us will not come to these countries. There's nothing much we want to be having in these countries. All of us are comfortable where we are used to be. People normally go outside for safety, especially in the circles of people like me, who have been having a decent job, who have been having a good living. You can earn your income, you can sleep in your own house. Why should you be leaving your country? For what? People are running away from Africa because it's not secure, because we have dictators who don't want us to speak, who don't want us to write. We have people who believe that when I support homosexuality, I'm promoting it. There is a difference between saying don't kill a gay person and promoting homosexuality. I don't even understand what it means to promote homosexuality, because I think it's an insult to homosexuals, my own brothers and sisters. No one teaches anyone to be gay. No school teaches you to be gay, because naturally you are born that way. My sister Linda, up to now, the computer shows me that it's adding you, but the addition failed. I do believe that today you had it wrongly connected in your country, and I'm sincerely sorry. So as I conclude, I'm going to conclude this. The debate continues. We are arguing whether homosexuals are born or made. And I've been in so many debates over this, but I've said, in my view, that homosexuals are born, because science has proved us right, that genetically, some people are wired that way, that these genes follow them. Yes, some people have said in their research that sometimes the environment may dictate how one turns out. That, for example, if a child grew up seeing a man loving a man, that child may think it's okay for a man to love a man. Some people have argued in their books I've read. Others have said that the environment also may contribute to homosexuality. Granted, I cannot say that that is 100% right. Linda, my sister, I can show you, I've seen your requests and I'm acting on them, but I can tell you, the system is already in play. They are saying unable to add guests because you're already in the process of joining. They are saying if they accept, they can join you, and I'm sending an invitation, and they are saying unable to add. So just bear with me. I've tried my best to add you, but the system has failed me. It simply shows me adding, but doesn't allow you actually to join. I don't know how to go about this. That's why I'm sincerely sorry for this. Maybe we are going to dedicate the next Saturday for you alone to start the talk. And then once you are done, then I can come in. Yeah, I've tried to add you, but honestly, I've failed. So I'm going to conclude this. But next Saturday, next episode, Linda will be the one to host it from the start, so that she can be able to talk, and then me, I can come in later, because our network have failed to connect. So as I conclude, homophobia is dangerous for us as Africans. And I've been very clear, Africa is not for Black people alone. Africa is for humanity. My sister Linda is white, but she's an African. She's born in Africa. All her history can be traced properly in Africa. So when I say Africa and Africans, I mean all of us. We must come together. We must know our allies, wherever they are, and fight, number one, bad governance. We are running away from our countries because of bad governance. We must fight the corrupt. We must fight homophobia. I was telling a friend today that when I contested to become a member of parliament in 2011, one of the accusations I got was that I was homosexual, or I had homosexual relatives, or I supported homosexuals. And that was dangerous. That was wrong. Even when people loved me, but that dent alone affected me. People think you're homosexual, and for them, because they have been brainwashed by religious people, they think that's a crime. That's a crime. They think you are not capable of leading. So we need to tackle these things head on, before they go beyond control. I'll give you one last example. My sister Linda, next Saturday, was the one talking, because the network today has failed us. One last example. In 1998 October, I watched news on TV and later on read in a newspaper about a one person called Kiza Sembajwe. Kiza Sembajwe called herself Brenda. And this Brenda, who people thought was a man, dressed like a woman, went to a market in Kampala, the capital city, to buy food and fish. To buy food. He was dressed like a woman. He had lipstick. He had bleached the face to become more brown than her natural color. When people saw Brenda, they said, "No, we know you're a man. Your name is Kiza Sembajwe. Why are you dressed like a woman?" People beat her up and said, "You are a man. Why should you dress like a woman?" She was beaten and taken to police, and the police took her to court, and she was sentenced to 30 days in prison, and her crime was that she was idle and disorderly. But remember, she had only dressed as a woman. And what she was saying, me, I feel I love to dress this way. And I want to put lipstick. I make my hair. She had permed her hair. Her hair was short but permed. So you can see the impact of homophobia. That Brenda, alias Kiza Sembajwe, spent 30 days in a prison in Uganda for simply putting on a dress, for simply putting on lipstick. So we must fight homophobia. We have done so by fighting the Kill the Gay Bill, which was brought by Bahati 2007. We have failed to see the big picture as Black people, as Africans. We are like an ostrich. An ostrich buries their head in the sand. We are like that ostrich. We don't want to see reality. We want to see lies because the Bible has told us so, because the Quran has told us so. We must wake up, as I put it in my book, The God Business. You can look for a book, The God Business, on Amazon. As I put it in my new book, Song of an Infidel. Check it on Amazon. We must wake up as Black people and reason and use our heads for the better. All of us have the same brains, the same head like everyone, but why is our continent backward? When we have plenty of resources, plenty of minerals, we have the youngest population in the world, we have the best environment, the best soils you can't find anywhere in the world, the best weather in the world, why is Africa poor? Part of the answer is that we have failed to grow intellectually. We have failed to outgrow religion. We have failed to outgrow biases. We have failed to get good leaders. We have allowed to be misled, to be fed on lies and indoctrination. We spend much of our time in churches, chasing wind, moving in circles instead of working. In Europe, people are working 24/7. For us, we are in churches. In Europe, churches are getting empty. There are casinos, there are bars, there are schools because they are useless. People have abandoned them. For us in Africa, instead of building factories and schools, we are building damn churches. This is where our mistake is. We must rise up and grow intellectually as Black people in Africa. And we must talk to our dictators to stop inspiring homophobia. I want to thank you so much for being a very wonderful audience. I want to encourage you to share this video. I want to encourage you to follow our page called to Activism Africa, which is on Facebook and also YouTube. I want to promise you that my sister Linda will be here with you next Saturday. In fact, I will not feature. I'll be in the background. I want to let her use that time to talk with you, to share with you the entire segment next Saturday. I will not join. I'll be in the background watching. I want Linda to share with you what she had prepared for you today. Thank you very much for being a good audience. Thank you, Logan, for trying your best. The network was bad in South Africa today, Linda has told me. Thank you, Abraham, for watching and following, and all of you have been watching. Thank you, Dennis, for doing a great work. Thank you, Mehdi, for making me those beautiful videos, and I encourage you to, all of you viewing us, to go on the page Call to Activism and see the videos I've made and see the beautiful articles Linda has written. Educate yourself. No one is going to educate yourself, and I've been repeating, the education system we have in Africa is dead. It will not help you to grow intellectually. I went to school in Africa. I have a first-class degree in law from Cavendish University. I'm a lawyer, I'm a published author, but I'm telling you, our education is missing a lot of things. Our education does not teach us how to think. I have excelled at primary level, topping at my school. I have excelled at secondary level, being the best student at my school. I have excelled at high school, being the best student in my school. And I've excelled at university, getting a first-class degree. So I can say with confidence that I've excelled academically, but I can tell you in the same vein that our education system is bogus, does not teach people how to think. It simply tells us what to do and how to think. So we must rethink our education. This is why this platform is important. We are going to be talking about things you will never learn in school. Please keep alive, keep hope alive. If you're an exile, if you're homosexual, if you're a prostitute, if you're an albino, if you're a mother, know you are loved. Those in Kakuma camp, my greetings and my consideration and my love. May peace be with you. May you continue to have hope. May we continue to have Linda and her friends giving you blessings, being there for you. And may you survive that concentration camp. Thank you very much for being a good audience. And thank you very much for watching. And your feedback is highly appreciated. Bye-bye.